Verse 23 now. Well, let us begin with verse 22 once again. So then, the gift of tongues is for the purpose of a sign, not to believers, but to unbelievers, specifically Jewish unbelievers. On the other hand, the gift of prophecy is not for unbelievers, but to believers. And now verse 23 begins with a hyperbole, an exaggeration. We begin with a third-class condition, and, if, maybe yes, maybe no. And we have, well, let's begin with so you can see the translation first from the NIV. So if the whole church comes together, and everyone speaks in tongues, and inquirers or unbelievers come in, will they not say that you are out of your mind? The answer demands yes. The question demands the answer yes. So this is our passage right here, verse 23. Let us go over the exegesis roughly. So here's the exaggeration, the hyperbole. If you go into a church and everyone is speaking in tongues, there's no such thing as everyone speaking in tongues. In the pre-canon stage of the church age, it was supposed to be only two or three at a time. But we'll go over this right now. If, and, third class condition, if, maybe yes, maybe no. This is part of the exaggeration. This is the post-positive. Therefore, if, and now we look for a subjunctive. Here's the verb. Well, we look for the nominative case first. I should have known that. And so that is, hey, ecclesia, the church. Ecclesia, as we have gone over in the doctrine of ecclesia, we know that ecclesia can mean the body of Christ here, but here it is the local church. If, hey, ecclesia, the church, and then here's the adjective, hole, whole. If the whole local church, and here it is, sunelte, this is the aorist active subjunctive of sunerchomai, and this we're going to say assemble. If the whole church assembles, the aorist tense goes to whatever time that they assemble, the active voice. The church produces the action of the verb, and the subjunctive mood goes with the hyperbole, with the exaggeration here of the third class condition. Sometimes you do need to use hyperboles, you do need to exaggerate to prove your point. Here is an exaggeration. If the whole church assembles, and then epi to auto, epi plus the accusative denotes direction, and literally means to the same. And what does it mean, to the same? Well, it's an idiom that assembles together in the same place. We're just going to translate it. If the whole church assembles together, kai, and connective, and all pantes, this is the nominative. We begin a new clause. Here's the nominative case. All the people, all the congregation. We look for the verb. It's right here. Lalosin. This is the present active subjunctive of laleo. The present tense is for the moment that they already are assembled and they're present at the church. The active voice, the Corinthians, produce the action of the verb of all speaking tongues. And the subjunctive mood goes with the exaggeration. All of them are speaking tongues. Pantes, all are speaking. Glossais are speaking by means of tongues. The dative of means, or the dative of manner, whichever. All are speaking in tongues. And so this is part of the exaggeration. But, if the whole church assembles together and all are speaking in tongues, and here we have two nominatives. We have the idiotes from verse 15, I think. The idiotes, the simple learner. Or here we have a disjunctive, or the apistoi. Pistos is believer, or faithful. With the alpha privative, apistos is the unbeliever. And the simple learner and the unbeliever eis eltosin, they enter. This is the aorist active subjunctive of eis erchomai. And so at whatever point that you guys are gathered and you're continuously speaking in tongues, and suddenly at one moment they enter. This is the aorist tense. At whatever moment that they enter, the simple learner, that him who wants to learn, or the apistoi, the unbeliever. Idiotes does not, yes, we get the word idiot from this, but it did not have a derogatory connotation that much. Idiotes is someone he's a commoner in contrast to the aristocracy. He is a citizen in contrast to a soldier. He is a private soldier in contrast to a general. He is an uneducated person in contrast to an educated person. He is a writer of prose in contrast to someone who writes poetry. Here in this case, it's just a simple learner in contrast to those who have the gifts. These people have the gifts. This one does not have the gifts. He's just there to learn. So the simple learner is the one that I'm the translation that I choose. And the simple learner or the unbeliever, eis el tosin, they walk. Active voice. The simple learner and the unbeliever produce the action of the verb of walking into the church, the local church, and the subjunctive mood goes with the exaggeration here. Therefore, if the whole church assembles together and all are speaking in tongues, and suddenly the simple learner and the unbeliever walk in, and now we have the question, which is the apodosis. This whole thing was the protasis, and now we have the apodosis by way of an interrogation. Uk. Uk begins the clause, so it demands, it most likely forms a question, and it demands the answer yes. Uk. And now we have we don't have, okay. So we have the verb right here, erosin. This is the future active indicative of apon. Erosin. The future tense is a logical future. After seeing that everyone is right there speaking in tongues and they don't understand this, will not they say, the simple learner and the unbeliever, won't they say that y'all are crazy? So that's the logical future. After having seen all this activity, they will make a conclusion afterwards. Active voice, the simple learner, the idiota, and the apistoi, the unbeliever, they produce the action of the verb. And the indicative mood, this is the indicative and interrogative indicative. It goes along with the interrogation. Will they not say, well, say what? Will they not say, hoti, that? Here we are going to translate it as indirect content. Will they not say that? What? Maineste, present, active, indicative of mainomai. This is from which we get the word maniac. Won't they say that y'all are crazy? The answer is yes. So this is an exaggeration to prove a point. The Corinthians gather, and everyone's speaking in a foreign language. One is speaking in Parthian, one is speaking in the language of the Sogdians, one is speaking even probably some ancient Sino-Tibetan language, the other one is speaking Libyan, another one is speaking from the Kush, the Ethiopians, another one is speaking one of the dialects of the Arabs, another one is speaking some sort of something. And all of a sudden, the one who wants to learn, the simple learner, and the unbeliever, they walk in. They don't understand anything. Their conclusion is, will they not say that y'all are crazy? The answer is yes, emphatically yes. And now verse 24. Let's look at the translation. But if an unbeliever or an inquirer comes in while everyone is prophesying, they are convicted of sin and are brought under the judgment of all. Here again, we have the contrast between the gift of tongues. Verse 23, everyone is speaking in tongues. As an exaggerated form, everyone is speaking in tongues. But in verse 24, everyone is speaking prophecy. Everyone is prophesying. So here he's going to use the exaggeration to demonstrate how prophecy is much more better in terms of edification, for the purpose of edifying those who are believers. Verse 23. Verse 24. Let's look at this right here. Here we are. Okay, verse 24. Okay. I'm going to send this right now.